This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey everyone, welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon, and today I'm gonna give you my thoughts on something. I was watching a video earlier today by a guy called, I think his name is Jesse Elder. I'm pretty sure he's just fucking chewed a heap of mushrooms and looked into the space vortex and realized that nothing exists except for the fact that matter doesn't matter and all this sort of stuff, which is pretty interesting. It's a pretty out there kind of dude. I got time for Jesse. Jesse, if you ever listen, I got time for you, bro. Good work. Otherwise, what he was saying basically was, in this game of life, and you know, as much as we try to play the game and win the game and all this kind of stuff, it's like, what if, right, plot twist, what if we had already won just by being born? I mean, like, to think and shift your whole paradigm shift and a mindset shift and going, rather than waking up every day and trying to win this game of life, whatever the fuck that means to you, what if just by being born it means I've already won? I mean, you know the chances of what it is to be born, right? It's like 1 in a trillion or something like that. Like, it's phenomenal. Not just the fact of whether your parents were going to have 1 kid or 3 kids or 4 kids, right? Like, give you an idea for me, I know that I got 3 older sisters and they were always going to have 4 kids, and there was 2 miscarriages as well. The first baby was a miscarriage, and the child between the baby between myself and my youngest sister was the miscarriage. Now, just that alone is that if either 2 of those were successful, I wouldn't be here. Let alone the fact that the thing had to be correct, the fact that all of the the matter over time, it's phenomenal to think that we're even here. And this is something that we just take for granted, and I think it's so easy to take for granted because we don't have time to fucking stop and think about this shit. But you've already won. You're alive. I mean, like, if you're listening to this, right, and you got to choose what you want to do with that life, like, that's pretty powerful, right? And think about it. And so I suppose the more I thought about this and going, well, you know, he goes on to say that the current life that we live now then is like the bonus level, right? Which is kind of cool, but I mean, there's not a whole lot of rules. And more often than not, I actually wrote an article, actually. Here we go. Let me pull this apart. This will help where my brain's going with it. Called How to Fail-Proof Your Mindset. And rule number one, change the rules so you can't lose. Now, this is pretty interesting, I think. And it was sort of like looking at the rules that I had kind of given myself over time. And it was probably rules that are, you know, there's a difference between rules and laws. And it's very important to understand that because, I mean, rules technically can be broken. They can definitely be bent. I don't think we should break the law. And I think there's an important distinction with that. However, number one, change the rules so you can't lose. And it's like asking the question, what does failure mean to you, right? This is what I'm getting at. What are the subconscious rules that you put upon yourself? For example, what does failure mean to you? One of the things I did was change what failure meant to me. That was one of the rules that I changed. Rather than saying that I missed or I didn't hit my target or, you know, whatever is associated with that or lost a game, it was like, when I give up. That's it. Like, I can't lose unless I give up. I can't fail unless I give up. And maybe someone would hear that and be like, yeah, you can, and give me all of their rules and push them onto me and tell them they're my rules, etc. I'm like, no, buddy. Like, I'll just go again and again and again and again and again. And maybe I didn't win. Sure, I lost the game, but I'm not losing the fucking championship. I'm not losing this decade. Like, I'm going to be here. And it was when I spent some time with C.T. Fletcher where he said, I asked him, I've said this a few times before, it's like, why do you are who you are and you've gotten to where you got to? Why do you think that's come to be? And he goes, an old motherfucker that held on when everyone else let go. So change the rules. Number 2, consciously wire your subconscious. This was my first podcast. And was talking about effectively why this podcast was created. But it's like, as we grow up, the way we react may not be our fault, but it's our responsibility to do something about that. And just by consciously wiring your subconscious, put good shit between your ears so that when you get squeezed, good stuff comes out and you respond more proactively rather than reactively to the ways that you maybe survived as a child, then you're fucking winning, right? Then you have this ability to be able to map out and path out the rest of your life. Now that's fucking power. And the beauty of this is the fact that we then take life into our hands. We remove all the media and the fucking rubbish that gets filled into our brain, and we start to put in good stuff. And people go, oh, I don't listen to podcasts or that because I want to take notes on it all. It's like, just keep listening. Just keep listening, keep listening, keep listening. Over the months, yes, months, good stuff will start to come out. You don't even realize that you have it there. This is crucial. So number 2, consciously wire your subconscious. Number 3 is never have a mindset. What? Mindset? What? Set. Your mind should never be set. It should be in this constant state of flow. And people call it a growth mindset, whatever. I don't care. Call it whatever you want. But basically it's saying never set your mind to be it. And because if you think about it, you probably think different to how you thought 5 years ago. Hell, you probably think different to how you thought 5 weeks ago, right? But definitely to 10, 15 years ago. And so think about the state of mind you are in. Right, the mind state. This is a beautiful place to be. And the reason why this is a beautiful place to be is because now you can decide when you want to be resourceful, how you want to be resourceful, and what resources you want to call on. This is very important. So yes, move from a mindset to a mindset. Number 4 is lose the concept of being right. Right, this is removing the frame of what we deem to be correct and right. And the reason why this becomes so powerful and important is because when you remove what you think you're meant to be doing and how you think it's meant to be done, you can let your personality, your creativity, and who you are truly shine through whatever it is that you're doing. So the question comes, did Da Vinci paint right? Right? Did Beckham the ball right? You know, you start looking at these sorts of things, they go, no, there was this constant development and improvement of how they went about their art, you know, art being whatever the fuck it is that you do with your life or you choose to do with your life. And so the beautiful thing about this is that we start to shift from being right to looking for true. And what's challenging is that in a lot of arguments or conversations people have, they care more about being right, they care about what's true. Don't be that person. I mean, like, I don't like to tell you how to be, but fuck. Like, I remember one of the big ones I learned was saying, I don't mind being wrong. I want to know where we're going with this. Like, I'm okay with being wrong if what is true or what is the best option comes forward. That's fine, because I'd prefer that the collective is right moving forward there than me be right. And that was an interesting thing. It was something that I had to really tap for a little while, but lose the concept of being right and look for true. Remove the fucking ego and look for the truth as best you can, and you may be surprised. My last and 5th step was swear a little. Now, the reason why, that was actually changed by when I was writing this article for Men's Muscle and Health magazine, but effectively it was either a fuck yes or a fuck no. And it was a way to help make decisions. You look at something and you go, is this a fuck yes? And if it's not a fuck yes, then it's a fuck no. I think that might be Mark Manson's thing. I can't remember that. But there was definitely this idea of going, too often we say yes to things that are kind of maybes. We round them up. And then we're like, fuck, I don't really want to do this. And so we look at this and you go, this is why your time is so, it's a currency. It's the only form of currency, your time, that is, that you can never buy back. Like, you're not getting it back. You get your 20s back. Doesn't matter how much fucking money you earn. You don't get it back. You don't get your 30s back. You don't get your 40s back. They ain't coming back. And so we really need to look at our time as a currency and going, well, would I pay this person X amount of money to listen to their rubbish or to let them complain or to do this? And if it's like fucking no, then stop giving your time, because that's the exact same thing. And so this came down to the idea of going, is this a fuck yes or is this a fuck no? Because if it's not a fuck yes, then it is a fuck no. And that helps you look at decisions. Now, I understand there's a grey area to that, and I respect that, and it's going to be different for each person. What I do talk about so much, especially if you're on the Enneagram and you've got a type 9, you might be this person. If you've got a type 8, you might be more like me and being able to say no, things you don't want to do. But if you're verbally saying yes, but you can feel in your body it's no, be honest, move towards the truth, learn to say no, because if you realize that you're just saying yes to them, you're always saying no to you. And that's one of the biggest things that those people struggle to really grasp. Until they realize that, then everything changes. Team, that's it. I'm done. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you found this beneficial, it would mean the world. You would pass it on to someone else that you think would find it beneficial as well. Otherwise, a couple more days left in my pre-order for my book. If you've enjoyed my podcast, I think you would love my book. Please jump in. It's in the comments or the description of this podcast anyway. The pre-order, it's going through until the 17th of July, and then I'm writing. How good is that? It's exciting, and writing with Mr. Nick Shaw, so I'm looking forward to that. Nick, thank you very much. Otherwise, team, until next time, peace and pizza, kick today in the dick, and slay the dragon. I'll see you soon.
Happiness to be everything at once, be unblinded. and unburdened.